Hey everyone, welcome back. So I'm just gonna say first off that what happened on the set of Rust is a tragedy and could have been prevented 100%. And it's really sad, and my heart and my prayers go to the Hutchins family and the son and everybody that was impacted by this. Is just totally horrible. But the reason why I'm making this video is because I was reading the article and it states that Hannah, the armor that was in charge of the gun and everything, actually made two conflicting statements. Okay, so this is the article here. It says Rust Armor's attorney says she didn't think live rounds could be in the dummy box. It says lawyers for Hannah Gutierrez-Reed told NBC that their client was understaffed, undertrained, and overruled by producers when she tried to improve safety on set, which kind of sounds like she's putting the blame on the people that were in charge. But let's continue reading and I'll show you where she actually gives two conflicting statements. Okay, this is what I find really suspicious is that it states that in a statement through her lawyer Thursday, Hannah Gutierrez-Reed, 24, defended her work on the movie. Hannah would like to add a few points to the continuing narrative on the tragic events surrounding the shooting on the Rust set. First, Hannah was incredibly safety conscious and took her job very seriously from the moment she started on October 4th. She did firearms training for the actors as well as Mr. Baldwin. She fought for more training days and she regularly emphasized to never point a firearm at a person. Never in a million years did Hannah think that live rounds could have been in the dummy round box. Who put those in there and why is the central question, the former federal prosecutor added. So she's claiming that 100% that she was like training to be safe, gun control, everything. Well, that's her job, and I understand that. But why like release that in a statement? I guess unless you're trying to prove your innocence. The article goes to read that Gutierrez reloaded the gun that Baldwin used on set from a box of ammo that should have been only dummy rounds. He said on the show Wednesday. We know there was a live round in a box of dummy rounds that shouldn't have been there, at least one live round, they stated. But they're assuming somebody put the live round in the box, which, if you think about that, the person who put the live round in the box of the dummy rounds had to have the purpose of sabotaging the set, he claimed. So they're trying to claim that somebody tried to sabotage the set by putting a dummy round in, or I mean, a live round in a dummy box of dummy bullets, which is possible, or somebody probably could have swapped out and put a real bullet into the gun possibly as well. That's a possibility. But this is the thing, it says that there's no other reason that you would do that, that you would mix that the live round in a dummy round. He said that there was at least 2 hours which the firearms at times were unattended. See, that's huge. There was 2 hours that the firearms were unattended for before Baldwin accidentally shot dead Hanel Hutchins, sadly, and wounded director Joel Souza. In the statement, he says that the client kept guns locked up, including throughout lunch on the day Hutchins was killed. Okay, and this is where there's two conflicting statements, and this is huge, and nobody's talking about it. All right, it states that she instructed her department to watch the car containing the guns when she was pulled away for her other duties or on a lunch break. Hannah did everything in her power to ensure a safe set. She inspected the rounds that she loaded into the firearms that day. She always inspected the rounds. She did again right before handing the firearm to Mr. Halls by spinning the cylinder and showing him all the rounds and then handing him the firearm. He continued. No one could have anticipated or thought that someone would introduce live rounds into the set. But it states that Hannah did everything in her power to ensure a safe set. She even inspected the rounds to make sure that it was a dummy round. You figure there'd be marking dummy rounds to live rounds. You figure there'd be a difference. If there isn't a difference, that's really stupid. But there is, and there should be a difference between a blank or a dummy round and a real round. And if she loaded the gun, inspected it, and verified that it was a dummy round and handed it off, then that's her responsibility. But let's continue reading to see what it says. It says Robert Gorence, another attorney for Gutierrez-Reed, told that she had loaded the revolver and two other guns with dummy rounds for an afternoon filming session, placed socks over them to prevent passerbyers from picking them up, and went off to lunch. Okay, so she supposedly loaded these guns with dummy rounds, put a sock over top of them, and left them to go for lunch. All right, that's one of the statements. But then they're stating here, was there a duty to safeguard them 24/7? They said no, because there was no live rounds. But the account contradicts a Santa Fe Sheriff Office affidavit that said Gutierrez-Reed told investigators the gun had been locked in a safe during a lunch break prior to the fatal shooting during a rehearsal. So there's two different conflicting statements. One claims that she states she loaded the rounds into the gun, put a sock over top of the guns, and put them down, and left to go for lunch for 2 hours, at which any point anybody could have removed the socks, put a live round in the gun, and put the sock back on, tempered with it, or possibly the round that she originally put in was a live round, thinking it was a dummy round, but it was a live round. But you figured that she'd be training, like I said, there'd be a difference between the two rounds. And also the fact is that her second account, her other statement that contradicts the other statement, states that the gun had been locked in a safe during a lunch break prior to the fatal shooting during a rehearsal. So which one was it? Did she load the firearm, put a sock over top of it, and put it down and leave for 2 hours? Or did she load the firearm, put it in a safe, and lock it for 2 hours? Or put it in a safe, lock it for 2 hours, take it out, and then reload it? Those are major questions, and those are like, there's like a big difference. There's a huge difference between leaving a gun on a bench unattended or locking it in a safe. And you figure, as an armorer with guns, even if they're dummy rounds, they would have to be locking them to safe because they're real guns. So I don't know, it just doesn't add up and it doesn't make any sense to me. And it almost seems like if she's going to give two different conflicting statements. So yeah, it's really odd and weird that she would give two conflicting statements. One saying that she loaded the gun, put a sock on it, and left it there for 2 hours, and then another one to the police saying that she locked it up in a safe. It's just really odd. There's a possibility she's, because she's giving two different statements, she's lying. Maybe she knows that she loaded it with a real round, and she's trying to put the blame on others. That's a possibility. Like I said, you would know the difference between a dummy round and a real round. You figure they would make it them different, because if they didn't, no one would know the difference, and then people would just end up doing shooting people on the movie sets all the time. Because yeah, if you're an armorer like she is, wouldn't there be a difference between bullets, or you'd be trained to know the difference between the bullets if there isn't a difference? Like, it just doesn't make any sense. It doesn't add up, and to have two different statements as well, it just doesn't make any sense. Possibly, maybe she intentionally did this. Maybe somebody sabotage the set. Maybe it's an accident. There's a bunch of different, possibilities, but the whole thing is that she ended up taking the bullet, which was supposed to be a dummy round. She inspected it, loaded it into the gun, and either locked it off into a safe and came back and handed it off, and was supposed to inspect it again and then verify it. And then Alec Baldwin ended up using it and trusting her word. He's not a gun expert or a bullet expert. How would he know any difference if it's a dummy round or a real round? And then the accident happened. Or there's a possibility that she ended up loading it with a dummy round, put a sock on it, put it down, left, and somebody came and put a real round in it and sabotaged it, or possibly put a real round in the dummy box. And when she loaded it and left it, it was a real round the whole time. But it's her job and her duty and expertise to don't know the difference between a real round and a dummy round. So it just doesn't add up that she would give two different conflicting statements, to, one saying that it was in the safe and one saying that she put a sock on the guns and left it on an open table for 2 hours. So I don't know, that's just something that I came across in the article. And a lot of people don't realize this, but giving a false statement is actually against the criminal code. It's actually perjury, and you could be charged for it and go to jail. But yeah, I just find it really weird that she gave two different statements and nobody's really talking about this or bringing awareness to this. And there's a reason why she gave two different statements, and we got to find out why. So hopefully they end up, getting down to the bottom of it and investigating and finding out exactly what happened. But if anything, I would be questioning her and putting more pressure on her. That's just my own honest opinion. This is just what I came across, so I just thought I'd share my thoughts and opinions with all of you. You can either agree or disagree. Let me know your thoughts and opinions about this in the comments below. Why would she give two different statements? And also, is there a difference between a real bullet and a dummy bullet on a movie set? Anyways, please like this video, comment down below with your thoughts and opinions, and click that subscribe button for more. Thanks for watching, everyone. Stay safe. God bless you all. Take care, and peace out.